This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to the Lake Stevens Sewer District Board of Commissioner meeting. Today is Thursday, April 25th, and it is 9:13. We apologize for the delay. We've had some technical issues, and we'll go ahead and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 3, the public forum. We'd like to go ahead and open it up for any comments, no longer than 3 minutes. Is there anyone in the gallery, Mr. McCord, would like to address?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Patrick McCord, 10515 20th Street Southeast, Suite 202, Lake Stevens, 98258. I'm here today to give you a heads up on latecomer agreements. So currently under the RCWs, latecomer agreements have a lifespan of 20 years. In certain circumstances, those can be extended. Here 3 or 4 years ago, we had some of our latecomer agreements extended based on the COVID-19 situation. What we're experiencing now is delays in projects due to the escalating interest rates for both construction financing and permanent financing. So we'll be making a request to the district for a 2 to 3 year extension on some of those latecomers, and that will come in formally in a written request. So I just wanted to give you that heads up.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks for your time. Anybody else who'd like to address the board at this time? Okay. We'll go ahead and move on to the agenda approval. Are there any changes or modifications by staff?
I'm good. It's pretty thick and huge as is. I'm sure the printers probably ran out of ink putting this one together this morning. So there isn't any more from anybody. I'd make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Kevin, are you an aye?
I'm an aye. Sorry, the audio clipped on the side.
Sorry. On to agenda item number 6, old business. We'll begin with A, lift
We're down to
station.
consent agenda.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Anybody want us to pay the bills?
Oh, sewer district meeting. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
I'll show you my picture.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items under the number 5, A through C as submitted into our
I found
packet.
a way in. Not very many other people have.
Great. Is there a
I'm
second?
not hearing anyone.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, now moving on to old business. Lift station 1C pre-design report.
All right, so in the commissioners packets, there's a pre-design report provided
I
by.
came into the boards and agenda meetings page and followed like I did yesterday for the meeting, and that worked fine. But any other method to get in was not working. Tom Matlack also had the same problem.
Yeah, we were having technical difficulties this morning, so the meeting started a little
I
late.
hope others find agendas and meetings link.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to work it from the chat room and maybe you can see.
Type it in the chat.
Yeah, so
Maybe let him know that the.
Oh, good. Okay.
All right. So the 1C pre-design report. In the pre-design, you'll see that the district, the intent was to try to use as much of the existing footprint as we could and existing structures. So we would not have to excavate a whole lot. It's in a environmentally sensitive area. So we want to maintain excavation and disturbance in that area. We want to try to do as minimal as possible. So the proposal or the best alternative that we looked at was to essentially use the existing wet well, and instead of a duplex station, putting 3 50 horsepower motors in there, a new control cabinet, new generator, and then yeah, improve the site, make it look better. Right now it's kind of an eyesore. So without going into too much detail, the details here, did the commissioners have any questions or comments they'd like to see addressed, or is the assumptions made in the pre-design report something the district would feel comfortable with directing our engineering firm to begin design?
How much longer, like how many more years do you feel like the wet well can be sustainable?
The wet well is fine. It is the controls and the pumping capacity that is kind of our biggest roadblock. Once lift station 2C improvements are done, the upgrades are done there,
okay,
then 2C will no longer be pumping into 1C.
mm-hmm.
So that'll alleviate some of the flow there. But right now, at great expense, we're having to station a bypass pump down there 100% of the year because the controls are no longer reliable. And we've had contracting firms come in and just flat out refuse to work on it anymore.
Okay.
So we're limping it along, but it is a high priority project. Also, the gravity system is pretty shallow in North Lake Shore, so we don't have a lot of storage if a malfunction happens to get it remedied. So that is one of our biggest heartburn stations. That one keeps us up at night.
Okay.
But it again is not going to be a very easy project, and it is my understanding, and perhaps with some district or commissioners' direction, our understanding is that there's a covenant on several property owners' deeds there that restricts any above ground construction at that lift station to 2 feet. I haven't physically seen that covenant yet, but I'd like with the commissioner's direction to get Jordan or another firm to do some property searches down there to see if they can find that covenant.
Yeah, I think it's always been spoken about that because I looked at that corner property once before, and I know that it's the final, whatever is finally put there, as far as controls and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a certain size limitation. Never really went and looked through that personally at that point, but I know from just listening to a lot of the folks that do live along that road, knowing them over the years that they've reached out, they just want something done there, because I think what they really hate hearing is the generator on, even though it's a quiet generator, that bypass pump situation. As far as I look at it, I think between the engineering firms and the staff we have here, this pre-design report modification, I'd be all for it if it's going to meet the needs, because I think, like you were saying, once 2C gets up and running, it's going to alleviate some of the pressure that's put onto that.
Yeah. And another one of the instructions we gave engineering is that we don't want to, after this, we don't want to touch the lift station as far as structurally again. So ensure that we can meet eventual build out flows with this one project as far as rotating equipment, generator, and then the only thing we would have to update eventually would be the controls. So, and I think everything in this pre-design report addresses those issues.
Yep. No, I spoke to one of the neighbors the other night in regards to this. So yeah, As far as I look at it, I would say, my view is for the staff to work with engineering and move forward on that. It's been on our radar forever. 1 and 2 have been one of those things. And I think when the district inherited a lot of those older stations over the years in the late 90s, it was one of those issues that we knew had to be addressed for back then. So yeah, definitely.
I would agree.
You want a motion on that to move
Yeah.
forward?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd make a motion authorizing the district and engineering firm to move forward on this lift station 1C pre-design report as recommended, and I'm sure reviewed by legal. I've heard no objections from our legal saying, stop, hold the bus, so. Yeah.
Great,
I'll
is there a second? Awesome. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Right to old business B, pre-purchase of generator for lift station 1C.
Yeah, so as part of this pre-design, construction schedule is for sure going to be an issue, and similar to 2C, we're seeing very long lead times on generators. So we were hoping that the commissioners would authorize staff to move forward with pre-purchasing the generator and the automatic transfer switch.
Sure.
Okay, any questions regarding the pre-purchase of the generator?
None for me.
Do you have a dollar amount on that?
We don't have a quote yet. We didn't want to spend engineering time really digging into that until design unless the commissioners allowed us to go down that road.
And I'll just make a motion authorizing the district personnel to move forward in the pre-purchase of generator for lift station 1C and controls, and come back with a total amount to be spent.
And the commission will definitely be having
Don't want to have
look at
a blank check out there, but I do want staff to move forward.
I'll second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Moving along to 6C, wastewater treatment plant,
All right.
redesign report.
So the board will have in their packet, a pre-design report for an alkalinity system upgrade at the wastewater treatment plant. As the commissioners are aware, or may be aware, that we've been kind of living on the good graces of Columbia River carbonate for the past year and a half on what was supposed to be a pilot project that turned into an extended pilot project. And I think the district probably should move forward with finding a permanent solution to that. The proposal that we've all kind of looked at internally and think is the most feasible is providing a permanent steel tank, removing the old hydroxide tank. The specific gravity of the calcium slurry that we get is much higher than what hydroxide is. So the existing tank that is there would not be able to hold the volume of calcium carbonate that we need. So we'd have to cut that one out and replace it with a steel tank. And then a few modifications to where the calcium carbonate would be fed into the treatment process. District staff believes that this is probably the most feasible approach, and would like some direction from the commissioners. If they agree with the assumptions made in the pre-design report, we'd like to move forward with design.
Yeah, I have no issue with following the recommendations that they've looked at. I don't know if there's any questions, comments from the other board members.
Nope, I'm good with it.
With that being said, I'll go ahead and make a motion for staff to work with the wastewater treatment plant alkalinity system modification pre-design report and come back with final numbers and everything in the context of what it's going to cost, but move forward on that project.
I'll second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, 6D, lift station 2C, force main and gravity project, bond approval.
So generally, the district would withhold 5% retainage from every payment that we make to an awarded contractor. ICI, the company we awarded the 2C force main and gravity project to, they've elected to use a retainage bond instead of the typical retainage. And it's not something that we typically see. Shoreline was one of the first that we've done. So just wanted to get board approval to entertain the retainage bond in lieu of retainage, and also ask a question, get some direction from the board on whether or not this is a topic that you would like staff to bring up in the future. I think we're going to see more of these retainage bonds in lieu of, and they're allowed statutorily. So is this something that the board would still allow or want the staff to present to the board, or is that something that the board would feel comfortable with staff approving in the contract process?
Yeah, from my perspective, I think that if they're going to show and have a retainage bond, that's good. I don't think we need to burden it as far as doing that. I think it's just something that's simple that staff can make that decision. That's my feeling at that level. You know, I think when we select these folks, these companies to take on these projects, they already have a proven track record with
and the bonds are reviewed by legal before they're deemed sufficient. So our legal counsel would be reviewing them as well.
Yeah, I think that this just, you know, it's statutory recognized. It cuts out a lot of the bringing it in front of us when it's really not a necessary process. I think that we're getting the same thing by just having this bond. So that's where I would stand to. If we need to modify our policies internally, I would just say bring something back, you know, recommendation, but I would be willing to say, yeah, that's just an easier way of doing business.
Yeah, my only, I'm of like mind. I guess the only caveat I'd put in there is as long as the bonding agency is being reviewed, that they are absolutely rock solid and can stand behind whatever project, whatever bond amount, you know, whatever rating or, you know, however that is determined, as long as we're comfortable with that from a staff standpoint, I'm good.
I have no comments.
Okay, well, with that being said, but then I would just go ahead and move to authorize the general manager to sign into the Lake Stevens 2C force main and gravity project with ICI.
I'll second.
Moving forward on that bond retainage.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. 2C, approval for the contract with ICI.
The district staff, legal and engineering have all reviewed the contract and recommended it for approval. We would also ask that the commissioners authorize Mariah to sign the contract.
Okay, I'll make motion, Lake Stevens 2C force main project upgrade approval for Jim to sign that contract with ICI.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, 6F, a separation service and maintenance agreement.
So the agreements with Andritz Separation, they're the manufacturer and maintenance company of our two centrifuges at the treatment plant. Typically the maintenance agreement would be for 2 years. However, maintenance is triggered by a certain number of operating hours on the centrifuges, and we're in an odd cycle where we would not hit those trigger points until we get to the 4 or 5 year mark. So the contract before you is for a 5-year duration rather than the typical 2, and the total contract amount would be $144,259. The agreement's been reviewed by legal and staff and is recommended for approval.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion with Andritz separation services maintenance agreement for the 2024 through the 2029 contract for the amount of $144,259, authorizing the general manager or designate to sign into that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to new business, lift station arc flash study.
So recently, the district went out to bid or advertised for bid to have a contractor come in and do an arc flash analysis and to appropriately label all of our lift station controls to NFPA 70E standards. It's a safety concern that some of ours are not labeled. However, they went in before the code was even relevant. So we'd like to do that arc flash study and get the lift stations labeled. The cost of that would be $51,200, and the lowest and only bid that we received was electric safety specialist. So we'd like to award that contract to them and ask that the commissioners authorize GM or designate to sign or execute that contract. The contract's been reviewed by legal engineering and staff and is recommended for approval.
Great, that's wonderful.
No, I have no issue with it. I think following the NFPA is going to be what our public safety officials in the fire department, if they have to go to one of these incidences, want. And I know that most likely L&I, because if you're dealing with high power, this and that, they're going to have some concerns if it's not properly marked. So I have no issue with it. Commissioner Koch, you had any comments? None
All
there,
good.
but okay, well then I would go ahead and make a motion authorizing the staff to enter into the bid award to electric safety equipment specialist in the amount of $51,200 for the arc flash study and labeling, and authorizing the staff.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
MSR Lake Stevens BEA.
So this developer extension agreement is for the MSR communities proposed development. The development is in between Grade Road and Hartford Road. They are proposing 57 connections. This developer extension agreement differs from many in that there would be a district contribution proposed, and that would come in the form of GFC credits. In the district's capital improvement plan, we list a project E9A as being a district funded project that would be begun or completed in 2027. This project would require a lift station similar to that. So we've required them to essentially build that E9A project. And the estimated cost of that project, if it were to be constructed by the district, would be $1,710,000. The resolution the district recently passed would limit the district's contribution to only those amount of GFCs that project would generate. So the proposal right now is to contribute 100% of the GFCs that the district would have otherwise collected, which would be $769,500, and contribute that to the design and construction of the lift station E9A project. That lift station would serve a portion of the district's downtown Hartford industrial area. So it's a pretty vital lift station. The DEA has been reviewed by legal and district staff and would be recommended for approval.
no questions with that.
I don't have any issue. I don't have any issue with that. That's consistent with how we've approached developers in the past. It's good.
And it is a huge savings to the district,
Yeah,
$950,000.
$950,000. And I do think that it kind of maintains our philosophy of growth, paying for growth. So I think, yeah, unless there's comments or changes that the commissioners would like us to make, I think district staff would definitely recommend this one for approval.
Nope. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we enter into the MSR developer extension, well, MSR Lake Stevens developer extension agreement as submitted and reviewed by staff and legal.
I'll second.
Can I pipe in real quick? Jonathan, was this a matter where we were going to ask for authorization for Mariah to sign?
There is currently, we're trying to verify ownership of the LLC that is signing the DEA. We provided them a document that I think would provide the district reasonable assurance that it is so. We haven't been able to verify through standard means. There's no authorizing resolution that would let the owner of the LLC sign. So Jordan had drafted said authorizing resolution, but we haven't gotten that back. So if the commissioners would be willing to approve the DEA in form until we're able to verify ownership or get that authorizing resolution back, that would make that person as authorized signatory. And then authorize, once we receive that, to Jordan's satisfaction or the council's satisfaction, and sign the DEA.
I'm just trying to think, I mean, our motion went up there as far as approving the DEA as submitted. I think that satisfying the legal and general manager's verification is going to want them to do that. If they feel there's something different, they can always bring it back to us. Hold on to it. But I think as submitted, I mean, I guess I would say with that, it's authorizing the staff. So maybe I'm missing something even more, Jordan's.
I think the only nuance is it's not ready for signature today, although the form of the agreement is done. Typically, I believe staff would have commissioners sign the agreement after the commission's approved it in the meeting, but we're not ready to take signatures today. So if we can just add to your motion that you would authorize Mariah to sign on behalf of the district, then she will sign once I've given her the green light that we have what we need from the legal perspective.
Okay. I'll add that to that, the authorizing the general manager to sign once legal is satisfied with ownership of said property.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
All right, moving on to the manager's report. You're a one-man show today. Thanks for all you do. It's a lot.
Yeah, falling apart without Mariah. So flow at the treatment plant is 3.035 million gallons a day. To date, the district has issued 39 permits and collected 20 GFCs. We last week met with potential bidders for the 2C upgrade project that's currently being advertised for bid. And we're pretty happy with the response that people that attended that pre-bid conference. So hoping that we get a lot of interest in that. We have the pre-construction meeting with ICI scheduled for, I think it's on the 1st. And then shortly after we do our contractual speak about the contract and the district's internal process, we'll set up the pre-construction meeting with the city contractor and district staff. That's about all I got.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
City report. Jean, do you have something to share with us today?
I do. Good morning, everybody. Business as usual at the city, but the police department got accredited several years ago, and that needs to be reaccredited every 4 years. So this past week, the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chief Association team, or accreditation team, excuse me, completed their on-site reviews. There was 147 standards that were reviewed, and we passed every one. So we're heading towards reaccreditation, which is super exciting for the department and the city. That's all I have.
Great, thank you so much.
Andrea, if I can, I have two requests of the commissioners.
Great.
If I could.
Yes, please.
And this is pertaining to yesterday's meeting.
Okay.
Just for clarification purposes, so that we're operating on the same documents. I would ask if you could confirm, there was some comments made yesterday about the agreement that was sent to the city back in February. And Dan and I talked to this a little bit after the meeting, but I just want to make sure that this document is dated February 15th. I think it was referenced as February 18th or 19th. I just want to make sure we're on the same page, that there aren't two documents floating around from the sewer district as to, this was authored by Jordan.
Okay, so the one you have in front of you is dated what?
February 15th, then it is the City of Lake Stephen Sewer District Agreement Plan of Transition and Assumption. Cover letter is dated February 15th.
Okay.
So I just.
Of 2023.
There's not another document. I think Commissioner Cochi referenced a document of February 18th or something.
We can, we'll get you the exact dates. Not a problem. We can verify, and then in fact, if helpful, we can re-forward the doc or whatever just to make sure we're on the same one. I don't have that date in my head. I just know that it was sometime in February and is over a year ago. So I don't recall citing a specific date yesterday, but we'll clear it up.
Okay, appreciate that. The second question, clarification I would ask is there's reference, and I'll pick up Commissioner Cochi here, but made a reference that when the assumption was complete, that there would be a debt-free district delivered to the city. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah, we're getting a cord to plug that in before we lose.
So I'll address this to Commissioner Terry. Batteries are running high. January 25th, 24, there was a financial draft report that was done that shows their debt payments being paid into 2038. And so again, just for clarifications, yesterday it was discussed that in 2033, there would be a debt-free district.
Okay.
And yet, Schedule 3B, page 4 of the draft document that was presented at your January 24th meeting, I believe, or January 17th, shows debt payments into 2038. So hopefully we can get some clarification on that line.
So based on your line of questioning, are you hoping to do the assumption 2030?
No, I'm just asking.
I'm just teasing you.
I want to make sure that
I'm
we're
just
talking
joking,
about the
I know.
same thing, that's all. We obviously are parsing a lot of words at our utility meeting and so forth. I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
No problem.
So just.
No, and I think we can bring that back at the next utility meeting, having those exact things. So, no, we'll get it sooner, but we can talk about it as an open meeting with all of us.
Appreciate that.
No, absolutely.
And again, I'm just asking for clarity.
Yep.
That was great. It's super important to be accountable on all sides. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anything else, Gary?
No, just those two items.
And we appreciate you attending. We know it's out of your time, and thank you. And thanks to Jane for that support.
Yeah, likewise.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to the commissioner's report. We'll go Dan, me, and then Kevin.
The only thing I really have to add is I attended the Washington Association of Water and Sewer Districts Conference. We had it Tulalip, so it came up to Snohomish County. Well-attended conference, a lot of great information in regards to that. So, you know, it's nice to see Commissioner right there. We had staff come in, which was really good. I think there's a lot of tracks that are very, very good to follow in regards to what the association statewide has done. But other than that, I just want to thank staff for all the hard work they do to make this place run seamlessly. Look forward to it. From the looks of all of this, we have a very busy construction season coming up in front of us. So thank you.
Great. I was also at the WASWAD meeting and found it, again, tremendously helpful. For me, the most important thing was just the collaboration with other sewer and water districts. Particularly, I found helpful the discussion about cost savings and trying to work together with possibly other districts in future projects and being able to save on, small costs, but it ends up being kind of large when it comes down to it. So I think that's always helpful, and that's all I have today.
I have nothing today. Appreciate everybody's hard work.
Thank you so much. Go ahead, and I believe we're having an executive session today. I'm not sure on the time frame.
I thought it was 3 hours.
3 hours. Should we stay until 10:20? Do you feel like that is enough time? Let's go for 10:20. No too long, Kevin?
No, that's good. Let's take a stab at it.
Stand there when you come out and say, but I don't think there's not going to be a decision to follow. It's in regard to potential litigation, but I'll let Jordan go ahead and speak to that.
All right. The Lake Stevens Sewer District Commission will now move into executive session pursuant to RCW 4230-110 subsection 1 subsection I to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency matters relating to pending litigation to which the agency, the governing body, or member acting in an official capacity is or is likely to become a party. The executive session will conclude at 10:20, and at the conclusion of the executive session, the commission will adjourn the board meeting with no related announcements or actions taken.
Perfect. We'll look into that. I did find the agenda was at the very bottom.
Oh, good spot for it.
This conference will now be recorded.
We're going to go ahead and extend our executive session to 10:30 with no decisions to follow.
This conference will now be recorded.
We're back from our executive session with no decision to follow. And so I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn this board meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
All right.
Everybody.
Thank you.
It's a little nicer where you're at there, Kevin, than where we